A devastating loss for the Phoenix Suns as they fall to the Orlando Magic in pretty embarrassing fashion. Phoenix Suns dropping their fourth straight game last night as they continue to struggle without the presence of Kevin Durant. Devin Booker giving it his all once again, but it was not enough. Now, head coach Mike Budenholzer is going to have to try and turn this thing around. And he has got to do it in short order before it gets too late in the tough Western Conference. We're going to break it all down for you guys right here on Suns Digest. My name is CJ Pierre. Thanks for joining us, you guys. We really appreciate it. We're going to get into the loss to Orlando Magic last night. We're going to hear from some of the team, some people on the team in terms of what they think they can do to turn it around. And I'm going to give you guys something that they may be able to rely on while they wait for Kevin Durant to return to the lineup. But before we get into all of that, we noticed that about 81% of you guys are watching our videos, and we appreciate that. But you haven't subscribed to the channel just yet. You want to make sure you're keeping up to date with all the latest Phoenix Suns news and updates. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything that we're going to have cooking up for you guys as we get into this season. So let's just rip the band-aid off and let's get right into it as the Phoenix Suns fall to the Orlando Magic. And it was not very pretty. Orlando basically taking this one wire to wire and just really dominating Phoenix on Phoenix's home court. Phoenix falling to 9-6 now after a hot 9-2 start, dropping their fourth straight. And again, like I said, it was not a pretty one. Orlando winning 109 to 99, basically, like I said, dominating from start to Phoenix. Phoenix made a little run there in the fourth quarter, but the margin of victory for Orlando, just the final score does not really indicate exactly what the game looked like. It just Phoenix was basically on their heels from start to finish. Devin Booker really had to struggle, getting it going. He gave it, his best effort, but the Orlando Magic just really, showed out defensively and really had a lot of nice showings, really clogging the paint. And Phoenix not really didn't really have a lot going for them outside of Devin Booker and Tyus Jones really on offense. We'll get into the stats here right here in a little bit, but the Orlando Magic just really had their way with Phoenix, shooting 51% from the field. They only made 11 threes, shooting 37% from three-point range, but again, they only attempted 29, whereas Phoenix, they attempted 41 threes, only made 12, shooting 29% from three-point range. That's not going to get it done, shooting 42% from the field. Phoenix also struggling from the free throw line, only making 68% of their free throws. Phoenix did out rebound Orlando 38 to 45. They were not really able to get the ball moving, and that was really one of the more frustrating aspects of the game. Only 25 assists, which is a little unlikely. Tyus Jones had a good assist game, but not really much for everyone else. And you can see, like I said, Orlando largest lead, 19 points. Phoenix only a 1 point lead, and that was pretty early on in the game. Now, if we take a look at what else happened, in the game for the Phoenix Suns, we just take a look at, how everyone did. You look at the adjustments to the starting lineup with Bradley Beal missing the game. Kevin Durant obviously is injured. That put a lot of onus on Devin Booker, and he definitely struggled, only shooting 5 for 14 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3 point range, scoring 17 points. Pretty good game for Tyus Jones, as I mentioned, hitting four threes, 4 of 11 from 3 point range, 8 assists, 0 turnovers. That's why we brought him in here. Then the two rookies, Oso Iguodala, Ryan Dunn, starting in this game, both of them getting a chance to be in the starting lineup. Also, Yusuf Nurkic also missing this game against the Orlando Magic. And Suns really looking at their bench today. Bol saw some run. Josh Okogie, Grayson Allen, Monte Morris, and Royce O'Neal all seeing time. But again, it was all for naught as the Phoenix Suns again fall to Orlando Magic in not the greatest effort. So that kind of tells the story in terms of where the Phoenix Suns are at right now, as they are on a 4 game losing skid, and it has not been the greatest of showings over this time. Again, the Suns dealing with injuries. It's something that we talked about before the season started that we were a little bit worried of. And, if, that were to happen, if any of these players are going to lose time, how would the guys be able to step up and how would they be able to continue to put up points in their absence? And if we take a look in terms of what their output has been offensively over the last 4 games, they're averaging just over 100 points per game on offense. And in today's NBA, that's not really going to get it done. Obviously, there's that major outlier in the loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they only scored 83 points. I really think Phoenix really had a good game against Minnesota. But again, when you fall to the end and, Julius Randle hits that game winning 3-point shot to put it away, but the Suns had the lead in the fourth quarter and they kind of squandered it. But if you look at the scores of these games, three out of the last four, not only just losses, but blowouts. Blowout to Sacramento, blowout to OKC, and again, the Orlando game. It may have been 10 points, but it really was not as close as the score would indicate. And it's, not the greatest sign in the world. But again, it's the season's still young. The Phoenix Suns, they're 9-6. They're still in the top six right now in the Western Conference record wise. So there is still a lot to look forward to. And Mike Budenholzer believes that in his guys. And he said that after the game last night. He said these guys are going to stay together. It's a good group. They've got a good spirit. They've got a good way about them through good times and the hard times. You have to keep coming to work, put your individual time, put your team time in, and keep your head up. This group will do that. They're very good. They're very resilient, and that resiliency is definitely going to be key, especially in this early season moments when you've got guys out, when you're not don't have a couple of your best players. Especially a guy like Kevin Durant, who was really, I believe, on an MVP pace to start the season. And Tyus Jones, also the new point guard of the team, kind of stepping up into a leadership role. He also talked about it, mentioning that it's a long season. It's a long season. There are ups and downs in the season. There are times that we're going to be playing great ball, and there are times when we're going to be struggling to get a win, like right now. You've got to continue to push through. You've got to try and just stay somewhere in the middle and just try to continue to improve as a group. We know what our goals are. You can't win a championship in November, so we've got to continue to grow each and every day and just stay with it. Those are wise words from the Suns' new starting point guard, Tyus Jones, after last night's loss. And he's right. It's early in the season. There's still a long way to go. It may not necessarily feel like to Suns fans when you see 4-game skid, especially after you started so hot near the top of the Western Conference. But again, injuries are going to happen. The Suns aren't going to be the only team that deals with injuries. Other teams, other players are going to have to work around injuries to some of their star players as well. And particularly when you're in a loaded Western Conference, this is going to happen when you're playing good teams every single night. And that's the thing. Like when you take a look at the Suns' last 4 games, the losses to the Sacramento Kings, Oklahoma City Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Orlando Magic, all those teams other than the Kings made the playoffs last season, and the Sacramento Kings are a good team. And I think everybody recognizes that and knows that about Sacramento. So I think if you take a look at this 4-game skid, you have to notice the Suns don't have all of their weapons. They don't have their best pieces out there, and they were playing really good teams as well. So I think, we can pump the brakes. It's not time to panic yet. It's not time to hit that panic button just yet. But there are some ways and some things I think the Suns can lean on in the absence of Kevin Durant during this time. And I really think that it is time for Phoenix to lean on the rookies. So we're going to ask that question. Should Phoenix lean on the rookies? We're talking about Ryan Dunn and we're talking about Oso Iguodala. Like I mentioned, they both started in that game against the Orlando Magic, and obviously it didn't, work out to, in the Suns' favor. But I think that keeping those two both in the lineup during this time period will eventually bear fruit and will eventually be a reason why the Suns are able to get knock some wins over the course of this time. Let's take a look at Ryan Dunn's stats over the course of this season. I think he is kind of rounding into form in terms of the players that we thought he was going to be. He's shooting about 32% from 3-point range, 42% from the field, averaging 6.9 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game, and he's shooting 32% on corner threes. Now, his 3-point game was the thing that, during his draft profile, is that we thought he's going to need to improve. And I think 32% from 3-point range in any aspect is actually not terrible given what the expectations were for him coming out of college. I think that's solid. If we can steadily see some improvement over the course of the season with some more playing time, I think that'll be good. He's already a really solid on ball defender. We've already seen that. He fights, he gets after it, he challenges these players. We saw what he did against Luka Doncic, getting into Luka's grill, getting into his face, and being physical. That's what we want to see. I would love to see him get more rebounds if he gets the opportunity to start more. I think that will be really the level where he is going to be able to contribute right now at a high level if given the opportunity is rebounding the basketball. So Ryan Dunn, I think, will be a key factor in moving things along. Now let's talk about Oso Igudaro and what he can potentially do moving forward with this Phoenix Suns team as they continue to go ahead. Now, over the last three games, Oso, doing his thing, coming off the bench against OKC and the Minnesota Timberwolves and starting against the Orlando Magic. If we just take a look at what he's been doing. I think he's been solid. Take a look at his rebounding numbers in those last three games. 17 rebounds in the last three games for Oso Ighodaro. I love that. I like that in terms of what he's doing, and I think he's also making taking advantage of his opportunities at the rim and in the paint, shooting a high percentage in every single game that he's gotten these opportunities over these last three. And I also think he's having an impact defensively. I just think that, if he once he gets a little bit more time and gets some more consistent playing time, I think we'll see that to begin to bear some fruit, and that will be positive for the Suns. I think he fits in terms of what they're doing, even alongside Mason Plumlee. And I think if Nurkic comes back, I think we could see also Iguodala actually being a benefit to the Phoenix Suns in that way as well. So I do think the Suns can benefit even in this time without Kevin Durant to lean on their rookies to try and see some improvement. So Suns not great right now. Losing to the Orlando Magic on a four-game losing streak, but there's some light at the end of the tunnel. It's early in the season. We got a lot of time left. Kevin Durant's going to come back. Bradley Beal's going to come back. The rookies getting some playing time can help hopefully stop some of this bleeding over the course of the next few games. And I think the Phoenix Suns are still in good position to do everything that they want to do over the course of this year. Again, they're still currently in top six in the Western Conference. They still have the ability to win games. They still have the ability to score points when you got guys like Devin Booker. And if Tyus Jones continues to do what he's doing, he's going to be fine. They got a tough game coming up tomorrow night. They got the New York Knicks coming into town. Then they have the Lakers coming up after that. And then they've got the Brooklyn Nets and the Warriors. So it's not going to really get easier when you come to that. The Brooklyn Nets may be the worst team that's on, coming up over the course of that four-game stretch. But I do think that if the Suns are able to lock in, they may be able to get a few of those wins away. If they walk away over these next four, 2-2, let's say, and then around the time where we're going to reevaluate and see if KD comes back, I think the Suns will be in good shape. So that's just what I think. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comment section how are you feeling right now, even during this Phoenix Suns losing streak. We're going to keep up to date with everything going on with the Phoenix Suns over the course of the season. So if you want to see what's going down, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what we've got going for you right here at Suns Digest. My name is CJ Pierre. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. And go Phoenix Suns.